Welcome to Coordinate Algebra 1. We're going to start by looking at some common measures that maybe you're familiar with. First, let's start with the standard length measures. The first thing we have is an inch, which is approximately the length of a small paper clip, or almost exactly the diameter of a quarter. 1 foot is kind of convenient that it is actually about the length of a foot. A mile is usually about the length of a runway. Runways are usually a little shorter, but close to a mile. And maybe a yard, which is 3 feet in length, is about the width of a doorway. Not quite, but close enough. All right, so there's a couple relationships between each of these types of measures that we're going to be using in just a moment, but we can basically say that there are 12 inches in a foot, or 1 foot contains 12 inches. There are 3 feet in a yard, or we could say 1 yard basically contains 3 feet. And we have 5,280 feet in a mile, or 1 mile contains 5,280 feet. And from those, we can basically make the conversions that we want from one to another using dimensional analysis. So in this case, let's start by trying this first one. They want us to convert 65 inches to feet. Now, some of you may just be able to look at that and determine that you need to divide, but I'm going to try to do everything in terms of a dimensional analysis, or what's called factor labeling. So I'll start by writing 65 inches. And then I'm going to draw a line about that long. And the goal here is that I'm going to make like a little chart, and I want to put something here such that I have inches on the bottom. So just like kind of like when we're doing the algebra, the inches divide out. So if I look across here for any of these fractions that I have above here that have inches in the denominator, there's only one that actually fits that description. And so I'm going to move that to right here. I'm going to put 1 foot right here over 12 inches in the bottom. And you can see, just like if this were a fraction, consider this like a fraction bar. Since we have inches on top and inches on bottom, the inches divide out. And then all we have to do is multiply what's left over, and the only term that's remaining is a foot now, which is exactly what we want. So if I go across the top and multiply, I would write 65 times 1, and if I go across the bottom, I would have 12. And so really, I just multiply everything on top and multiply everything on the bottom and divide the two. So let's use our calculator to kind of calculate these. The calculator will make it a little bit more manageable in size. So in this one, first of all, if you have a TI-30, we can do a fraction bar. If it doesn't do a fraction bar, press the mode key and make sure math print is turned on. And then after you selected math print by hitting enter, hit second quit. And now you can hit the fraction bar, and it looks just like that. We can say 65 times 1 divided by 12. Actually, we didn't have to write the times 1, but I just want to get in the habit of that. And here first it came out with 65 twelfths, which if you want to convert that to a fraction, or that fraction to a decimal, just press that button right there, and we get 5.416 feet repeating. So 5.416 feet. All right, hopefully that wasn't too hard. Let's try this again. All right, so this time they give us 9,432 feet. So let me write that first. 9,432 feet. And again, I'm going to draw a line about that far across. And this time I'm looking to get rid of the feet and turn the feet into miles. So first I'm going to look up here and figure out which ones have feet in the denominator so that they will cross out or divide out. So if I look across here, that one has feet in the denominator, that one has feet in the denominator, and that one has feet in the denominator. So now between these three that have feet in the denominator, I would like to select the one that would help me get closer to miles, or to exactly miles. So that one doesn't do it, that one doesn't do it, that one's perfect. It has miles on top, feet on bottom. So I'm going to use that one in this next description. So I'll put 1 mile over 5,280 feet. All right, just like the previous example, since we have feet in the numerator and feet in the denominator, they divide out. And once again, I'll just multiply straight across the top. So in this case, I have 9,432 times 1 divided by, the only number in the denominator is 5,280. All right, so I'll clear the calculator, and I'll hit the fraction bar and do 9,432 times 1 divided by 5,280. And again, I'll hit the conversion key, and I get about approximately 1.786 miles. Because that was the only unit left after I divided them out. All right, let's try the next one. This time we're going from 1.3 miles to inches. This one might take more than one step this time. We're going to start with the miles. And the first thing I'm going to look for is something where miles is in the denominator. So let me erase these from our previous attempt and try to find any with miles in the denominator. That's the only one. And so we'll use that to kind of start going backwards to make them smaller. So we'll start with that one. So I'll write 5,280 feet in the numerator over 1 mile in the denominator. And just like I would hope, the miles divide out. So I currently have my measure in feet now, but I really don't want feet. I'm shooting for inches. So now I'll need to see if I can convert those feet to inches. So let's look for the ones that have feet in the denominator. So I have basically 3 choices, it looks like, for feet in the denominator, but I want to choose the one that actually changes this to inches. So it would be this one right here that changes it to inches, 12 inches per 1 foot. So I'll put 12 inches per 1 foot. And just like last time now, I have feet in the denominator and numerator, so they divide out. And now all I have left are inches. So inches will be the correct measure, and I'll just basically have to do 1.3 times 5,280 times 12. And everything in the denominator is just 1, so 1 times 1 was just be 1, and it won't change anything, but I'll go ahead and write that still so we have it. Alright, so I just multiply everything across the top, multiply everything across the bottom, and divide the two. So I'm going to make it look just like what's over there, 1.35280 12. And scroll down and write 1 times 1. And this time there's no need to convert, it's just 82,368. Inches, because that was the last measure that I didn't cross out. Alright, try the next one. It says 32 yards to inches. So we'll start with 32 yards. And similar to what we've done every previous time before this, let me erase that. I need to find something where, in order for it to divide out, I need yards in the denominator. So if I look carefully, the only one that fits that description is the one right here. So I'll put 3 feet equals 1 yard. And the yards divide out. Now I have feet, but it's not what I wanted. I want inches. So now I've got to convert from feet to inches. So I have 3 choices for feet. I could use that one, or that one. But which one of these will help me convert to inches? It looks like this last one right here, 12 inches in 1 foot. So if I put 12 inches on top and 1 foot on bottom, you can see here the feet divide out. And what I have left is basically just multiply everything across the top, multiply everything across the bottom, and divide. So we'll have 32 times 3 times 12, all divided by 1 times 1, which really, you don't have to do that because 1 times 1 is 1, and divided by 1 doesn't change anything. But let's go ahead and evaluate that like we've done all the previous ones. So we're going to hit the fraction bar, and in the numerator we have 32. Three, 12, 1 times 1. Right. So you get 1152. 1,152 inches. So hopefully it's getting a little easier. We'll continue trying these the exact same way throughout this entire worksheet so you can get better with converting any sort of measurements that we need to convert. So this time we're going to go from yards to miles. So we'll start with 4,790 yards. And so I'm looking for things that have yards in the denominator so that they'll divide out. And there's only one choice that has yards in the denominator, which is right here. So I'll write 3 feet per 1 yard. And now since I have yards on top and bottom, they divide out. Alright, so now I'm going to work on converting feet to miles. So I'm looking for anything with feet in the denominator so it'll divide out. I need feet in the denominator. So let's see which ones have feet in the denominator. That one, and that one. So which one of these will help me get to miles? It looks like this one right here will. 1 mile per 5,280 feet. So I'll write 1 mile on top is equal to 5,280 feet on bottom. And the reason I did that is so that feet can divide out with the feet on top and bottom. So this will be equal to, just got to write them out, so we got 4,790 in the numerator times 3 times 1, and in the denominator we have 1 and 5,280. So let's use the correct calculator, right? So let's try this again. Hit N over D, and then type it in just like it looks. 4,790, 3, and 1. And in the denominator I have 1 and 5,280. And press enter. And again, it gave me a fraction, so I'll convert that. And I get about 2.722. miles. Alright, I hope this was a good start. I'm going to stop here and begin the next video for page 2 in just a second.